This man has the face of a devil, but he has the heart of a bodhisattva. He's a good student, but he's always treated like a delinquent. On the first day of his transfer, the principal was so shocked by his appearance that he almost called the police. The teacher on the podium was trembling. The students under the podium were also trembling. Even their breaths were taken with caution, so as not to attract his attention. Nick was under the mistaken impression that the students were rejecting him. In order to solve this embarrassing atmosphere, he tried to put on a kind smile. During the lunch break, no one dared to come near, for fear of offending Nick, and it wasn't until he left that everyone felt relieved and breathed a deep sigh of relief. The story soon reached the ears of Mr. Tom. For Boss Tom of Beacon High School, Nick's presence was a clear affront to his honor, so he decided to teach this unruly newcomer a lesson. Tom stopped a random person at the classroom door to find out where the new transfer student from today's net was. When he heard that he was the one he was looking for, Nick was slightly stunned. Then he turned his head. The moment he looked at him was enough to scare Tom's boss out of his wits. In a matter of seconds, Tom felt like he was in the worst nightmare of his childhood. He struggled to move his stiff limbs. He pretended to be in the wrong classroom and fled. Tom felt like his dignity had been crushed. He crouched in the corner and smoked half a pack of cigarettes, but he still couldn't break free from the shadow of Nick's fear. The boys thought the boss was too weak. Tom was angry at them for being so short-sighted. If he'd left a moment later today, he'd have been in a world of hurt. Years of fighting had taught him that Nick was the real danger. Nick was a real danger. He warned his boys not to mess with Nick. On the playground, in order to fit in more quickly with the class, Nick decided to start by making a good impression. He picked up all the trash around him and put it in a bag. In the distance, there was a broken tree that had been blown down by the hurricane. Nick tried to move it without thinking, but the trunk was too heavy. Nick stepped back and stepped on a can on the ground. Boss Tom's heart was in his throat again. Was this demon really not going to let them go? Nick was about to leave, but his body lost its balance, and he lurched forward uncontrollably. Mr. Tom hissed in horror. The fear of being dominated by Nick came back to him. It was the first time in his years of fighting that Tom had ever panicked, but Nick was just trying to yell at them to get out of the way. But the two of them were each making wild guesses in their own heads. Nick was worried that Tom would be angry. Tom thought Nick was going to kill him. His so-called honor was in tatters. Nick became famous. By the next day, his story was all over campus. He just transferred to a new school, and he'd taken over the school's bad gang, which meant that anyone who disobeyed him was doomed.